Don't talk to me or my son ever again! This is a Mean Well NTU-3200 true sine wave inverter with UPS function. And this is a $900 12-volt inverter. That's Victron money. So why the hell would you pay that sort of money for an inverter that doesn't even have a built-in battery charger? I kind of wanted to find out, so I bought this guy. I do have an application for it, but this thing does have me quite stoked, because the build quality inside this machine is absolutely superb, and I can absolutely see why it's worth the money. So let's waste no more time and lift the lid. That's some transformer cooling. And there are the insides. And at first glance it is a bit messy, but when you dig deeper you can see what you are paying for. So for starters, on the input side we have a bunch of polymer capacitors. For the main DC link capacitors we have proper Rubicon Japanese very high quality capacitors. We have very beefy relays for the size of the machine. We have quality semiconductors for all the power parts. I haven't been able to see too much. I don't want to rip this thing into a million pieces, but everything I've seen has been like diodes, ST, Texas Instruments, that sort of thing. Completely high quality semiconductors on all the power stages. That adds up. And almost exclusively high quality Japanese capacitors. We have, you can see that that guy is a Rubicon, but that guy is a Samsung. There are a few Samsungs scattered around. This one's down there is obviously for the fan power supply, so I'm guessing they've sort of cheaped out a bit on the caps for less critical stuff, while keeping all the power supply path 100% Japanese quality caps. So really what you're paying for here is a good bill of material and some very good engineering, because you can get, of course, your generic AliExpress or Renogy or something 3 kVA inverter for like $250 to $400 will get you something that puts out a sine wave at 3 kilowatts. But what you don't get are the specs, and boy oh boy does this thing have the specs. So continuous power rating 3200 watts, peak power for 3 minutes 3680, surge power 4800 watts, and 30 cycles of 6400 watts of output power. That is only half a second, but that is an absolutely insane amount of headroom, and that's actually properly specified and guaranteed. You're not going to get that if you buy a Renogy, that is for sure. You're also not going to get all of these approvals. Look at all the tests. It has EMC specs which are actually guaranteed and specified. That is beautiful, and you can absolutely tell, for instance, by this metal cage around the output connector area. This is obviously an EMC cage, which curiously wasn't required there. And beyond the numbers, you of course get absolutely first-class performance, which I have been testing and I'm quite excited about. And there is the data. So I've tested the efficiency of this unit across pretty much the entire power range, and it is pretty good. Across most of its power range, it's well over 90% efficient. Passing 90% after 500 watts and staying there all the way up to just about 3 kilowatts, and dropping a bit below 90% as you go up to the full rated power of 3200 watts. I didn't test the efficiency at any higher power levels because that's just kind of yeah, no, pointless. It does have a fairly high idle power consumption of 51 watts, but generally this is really good. And the fact that this thing has such big, nice specs mean that it's going to do these numbers all day long until you get tired of it. Because if there's one thing that Mean Well are known for, it's making power supplies that just run forever. They run until you get tired of them. This guy retired out of some machine. It's so old, but it's got a voltage selector switch on it. Man, these haven't had that for, what, 20, 30 years? And it, of course, works just fine to this day. No problem with that. That's why you pay so much money for a Mean Well unit. And if there's one word to describe how this thing feels to operate, it's effortless. As you might be able to tell from my horrible contraption back here, this thing is enabled and ready to go. So we can just do that. And now it's on. That's it. Doesn't even turn on the fans. We have 230 volts of the output. There you go. Yeah, it's absolutely dead quiet. You cannot hear anything from this. Not a whisper. Now that will of course change when the load comes on, but just sitting around in like 25C, it's just completely quiet. It's beautiful, and there you can see on the smart shunt, we are drawing about 50 watts, just sitting idly, sadly. The real fun begins when I press this button, because we have a bunch of loads on the other side of this. So let's just do that. And it gently revs up. Casually putting out 2100 watts. Well, okay, not just putting out 1900, but drawing 2000. Not a crackle, not a pop. It just turns on. You just hear the fans. It's so beautiful, it's just completely unbothered no matter what you do. I've now added a 1500 watt radiator there, so we have more loads to switch in. So let's start with the previous 2 kilowatt load. That's 2 kilowatts. Now this is going to overload it. We're overloading it. The fans are of course running, but we can do this all day long. It's eventually going to shut down if we keep doing that, but you can just hear the fans. You can't hear a hum, not a whistle, not a screech. It just puts out perfectly. And we're going to hook it to the distortion analyzer in a bit, and you can see how the output waveform behaves, because this is absolutely beautiful. Right, I now upgraded my load to 2700 watts. We're drawing over 250 amps, and I've also added another 1500 watts on here. So let's max out my 300 amp smart shunt, shall we? $4,000 watts. And it just keeps going. Now the best part is we also have it on the distortion meter and scope. So let's just turn on that extra 1500 watts. It does clip at a significant overload. Let's see what our actual distortion is. I'm guessing we're going to want the Might actually be less than 10%. Yeah, just about 10%. 30% range. Just about 10% distortion at a 30% overload. And how are the thermals? Now the inverter has been running for about 10 minutes with the lid off, meaning that it basically doesn't get any cooling. So we have on the output stage, what's that, peaking at about 60 degrees. The inductors are running kind of warm. Again, this is with no cooling. The fans don't do anything when the lid is off. Everything is very nice and evenly warm. The input inductors are, or rather transformers I should say, are getting a bit warm. They do have cooling for a reason, and those input caps are definitely doing work. But there are no horrible hotspots. It's definitely not running anything close to the limit. And the main DC link capacitors aren't even running warm. That's really nice. That is a quality design for sure. Alright, so with the lid reinstalled we can actually push this guy a bit. So I've configured the load so that we have a slight overload on the second channel. You can see we're pushing about 3300 watts there. My DC side isn't going to handle it for too long, but it's good enough to give us a look on the distortion meter. So let's start by looking at the voltage droop when we turn on the extra load. There's absolutely nothing. What is that drop? 1 volt, 2 volts. So even though we do get a little tiny bit of clipping of the tips when we're just about over the rated power, the output voltage is absolutely rock solid. And if we go into distortion, we're on the 10% range now. So with 2700 watts of load we have, 3% range. We have just about 2.5% distortion there, and we're gonna have to go up to the 10% if we add the extra load. So this is about 10% overload. We'll go up to just about 4.2, 4.5% THD plus N. And if we look at the distortion waveform, we can see that that's just pure clipping. We're just seeing those clipped tips. There's no horrible stuff. It's just very basic clipping, nothing to it. So this is the kind of performance you want out of a proper pro level inverter. It just does not give a crap, and there's no funny business on the output. Now, if you were around for the Victron inverter repair, you will remember that a vacuum cleaner was its nemesis. So we can just take this horrible green cord and replace our resistive heater with that and see what we get. So we now have our 2700 watt base load and vacuum cleaner set to about 50% power, which is the worst thing you can possibly do. So let's see what happens. Naff all. So that's the distortion percentage again on the 10% range. Less than 3%. That is absolutely beautiful. If we go back to the sine wave, I bet we can barely even see anything. And we get a slight bit of wobble off the top when we turn the vacuum cleaner on. That's on, that's off. That is pretty damn clean for a tri-controlled motor. I mean, I think the real loser here is my poor, terrible battery. These terminals are running a bit toasty. Just 80 degrees on the positive terminal wire. $80 on the BMS. Yeah, this guy isn't having too hot of a time. Now, if there's one thing worse than a vacuum cleaner, it's a hairdryer. So we have our base 2700 watt load. Let's add this 1800 watt hairdryer. Oh, that's not happy. That's just a severe overload. But that was just because this thing was heating up. And it actually performs well once it's turned on and gone into regulation. And if we go to the distortion, we're on the 10% full scale range. Yeah, if we turn up the heat, we just overloaded so much that it's not happy. But sitting in regulation, this is putting out hot air, we're still under 10%. But this is just a severe overload. Very severe overload of the inverter. But we can also just remove the base load. So now there's absolutely nothing. Let's see what happens with the hairdryer alone. So this is a tri-controlled hairdryer on low medium, so this is pretty much as bad of a load as you're going to get. And we have 1.5% THD plus N. Turn the heat up. Maximum hairdryer. Still on 1.5% THD plus N, so this is completely clean. This would basically be killing the Victron we were working on. The Mean Well is just immune to hairdryer. Like, we're on the 3% range. We can get into the 1% range. We have with no load right now, we have 0.9% THD plus N. I've measured audio amps with more distortion than that. Granted, they weren't very good audio amps, but I've measured audio amps with a worse. That is very good performance. So that is why you would pay $900 for a Mean Well inverter that doesn't even have a battery charger. It's just a really, really good inverter. And with that, I hope you'll excuse me, because I need to be drying my hair.